Hello there. I am here to mm, oh, I don't think that works very well this time, huh? No, now it washes it out. Hold on. Turn it off. And let's do this. Do this. Well, that's not going to last very long. It's not going to last very long because I need this phone over here to do today's video. It's late, as you can see. But I picked up smoking again, and now I can't sleep. It's a stimulant. Just a reminder, it's a stimulant. So we're going to touch on a few things. And the reason is because, I can see, I get it now. You had someone in your camp, okay? You had someone in your camp that assesses every single thing I do and then gives you, like, their opinion of it or what they think I'm doing. And you took their advice. And believe it or not, I've actually called that person out well before I recognized that there's a link between you two. Um, it's interesting. Um, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with a Drake lyric. We're going to use a couple Drake lyrics because there's been a couple Drake lyrics that keep going on in my head. It is annoying. If I'm being honest with you. Oh, excuse me. As soon as I turn on the camera now, I'm sleepy. um, I should have. This is You With Me. And I think I actually did something with that song on this channel before. Okay? It's like a lot of games are being played. How's it going down? Uh all right. If it's on till we gone, then I got to know now. Is you with me or what? Right? But he says every time we speaking, it's like a lot of mind games are being played. No. That's still the chorus. Hold on. I want to know how much time you spent on them paragraphs where you're getting me. All that grander conversation history. You playing mind games when you saying things. Playing mind games. We both doing the same thing. That has been on my mind like all week. Okay. It just keeps coming back to me. Keeps coming back to me. And it's because what he's projecting. Okay. Hi, Aubrey. I haven't talked to you in a while. How are you doing? For people who have never been here before, I do not know Aubrey Graham. Okay. He's my imaginary friend. You can go back to the beginning of this channel. I talked about my imaginary friends. Okay. In this song, he is projecting. He's saying we're both playing mind games because the lady is emotionally flooding. Okay. Um, let's talk about what emotional flooding is really quickly here. Okay. Emotional flooding is an overwhelming psychological response where the body's stress response is triggered, making it difficult to think clearly or control emotions. That's not a mind game when someone has all that gray on our conversation history. You playing mind games. No, that individual was not playing mind games. They were emotionally flooding because they were experiencing a stress response due to your behavior. Okay. This song is very old. Okay. I can remember when this came out because Drake had a podcast at the time, and when he dropped it, he was doing it live on the podcast, and they dropped a phone number in there, in the thing, and I texted it. Okay, so I very it's very old. All right, so hopefully you've matured since then, Aubrey. But yeah, you think it's mind games because you do not recognize the psychological damage that you're doing to your partner. Okay, so there has been someone who has spoken on that. They've brought up that you think that I was playing mind games, right? Here's an example. And the thing is, this is how I know. Like you try to say you wasn't talking about me, or you weren't doing X, Y, and Z. You're not involved in this bullshit. This is how I know that you're taking advice of other people. Okay, because they're giving their opinions, and they're sharing what they think I was doing. Twice, only twice. Okay, only twice did I ever text you mistakenly, but you took that as a mind game. And actually, it was a result of your mind games that happened, because I would get so wrapped up in looking and rereading our text messages. I would spend a lot of time just reading it back, because it's like, did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? Why isn't he texting me back? And I would like go back and look at the text messages. Like, our conversation would be up constantly. Like, I would have to leave your texts that you weren't texting me, but I would have to leave our conversation to text other people. And so once I was done texting those people, I would come back to that conversation, and I would look at it, and it would be open. So what that looks like is this. This is what happened between me and you. All right. I um sent a text to my neighbor. She was literally the last person I texted. So when it was time to text her again because her child came here, this was kind of funny to me. Okay, like we literally live 30 seconds away, but she had like this thing where she would want me to text before I sent him home, even though it was gonna be like there by the time I'm done texting, he's home. You know what I'm saying? But last time I was texting anybody, I was texting her. It didn't even occur to me that I had went back to your text messages in our conversation. So when it was time to text her, I text you, I'm sending him home, or something to that extent. And then you hit me back, and that's when I realized I didn't text her. I texted you. Okay? That wasn't a mind game. It was the fact that you were playing mind games, and I was stuck in our conversation all the time. Also, I only have like a few Android users. Most of the people I deal with are at the time, because I ended up adding more people, and then I changed my number. So now there's like no Android users really, but it's green. All I see is green. So it didn't really register that um I had texted you. You know what I'm saying? One a mind game, one trying to see what you was gonna say. None of that. I was literally sending my neighbor's son home, went to go text her about it. She was literally the last person I texted. It became a habit to go back. I text somebody and then go into your conversation and go, and do all that shit, right? So, um, mm. The next one was that I had texted my son accidentally. Or, well, it wasn't my son, it was you. I texted you. And the funny thing about this is that I showed you. I literally showed you. The next time I saw you, I showed you like, oh, here's what happened. Because you can pin your favorite conversations. And my pins were Natanya, Jeremiah, G, and Aaron. Aaron was last because Aaron doesn't have much reason to text me because we live in the same house. But he was still up there for my pinned conversations. So you're right next to him. I started wearing nails. That's right around the time I started wearing nails. And I would, you know, whatever you call that, fat thumb, whatever, I would mispress. So Jeremiah is actually uh, an iPhone, but it wasn't until I hit send that I realized, oh, it's green. Sorry, that was meant for my son. And I literally showed you how easy it is for me to do that. And you're taking these people's advice. She's playing mind games. She's playing games with you. No. Nope. So we found out what emotional flooding is. Okay. Happy birthday, Darlene. As in darling. We figured out what emotional flooding is, but I actually first post when I open up Facebook today. We're going to use that post today to talk about some of the things that this isn't this isn't for the people that I think have caused me harm. This is for the rest of the population, okay? Because there are people out here that are experiencing some of the things that I'm experiencing, and you need to know and you need to recognize it and you need to do it fast, okay? Because I'm about tired of this narcissistic paradigm. I mean, I can't. Okay. So, ironically, excuse me, and I don't really scroll on Facebook. Excuse me, I don't really scroll on Facebook. Like I said, I primarily use that to keep up with the school, um, and marketplace. Because if I'm an avid shopper. Okay, I shop all forms. Anyways, um, Ashley Nicole. Okay, Ashley Nicole posted today, or actually 3 days ago, but I saw it today. Why survivors sometimes look like the abuser. Okay. I don't know if this person has any credentials or anything like that, but I could tell you spot the fuck on. All right. So, and why that illusion is exactly what a narcissist wants. Okay. This one is tender, raw, and necessary because nothing destroys a survivor faster than hearing, wow, you're acting like them, or you seem unhinged, emotional, dramatic. Maybe you're the toxic one. You know, no. Let's strip that lie down to its bones. Okay, survivors don't become narcissists, they become reactive in systems designed to break the regulation. And let me show you the truth, she said. Now, um, Watch out for snakes. My lovely poem. Okay, it took me almost like a year to write that poem. But I said spend too much time around them and people won't know the difference. Okay? Funny enough, there is also a screenshot of a reader here that was talking about being bit by a snake like right as I read this thing. This is a screenshot. I was listening to a reading, open up Facebook, saw this was the first thing I saw. I find that to be completely aligned. But shout out to you. But I won't say your name because now I've noticed that sometimes y'all do not uh, take that the right way. So survivors mirror the environment they're trying to survive. Okay. A nervous system under threat stops trying to look healthy, it tries to stay alive. That means crying, yelling, shutting down, freezing, lashing out, over explaining, defending relentlessly. These aren't abusive behaviors. These are adaptive survival responses. Okay. The neurobiology behind this is chronic manipulation keeps the amygdala. I've never really said that properly, you know. I just flashed a water boy. All right. It keeps the amygdala overactivated, and the prefrontal cortex offline. You react because your nervous system is under siege. The narcissist caused the fire, and you reacted to the flames. People confuse smoke with the source. Where there's smoke, there's fire, right? I must have started the fire. I must have been the problem. Another thing too, real quick, that whole I think now we can all agree that if more than one person has a problem with you, it's you, is not really true, and something that likely started in the earliest beginnings of narcissistic abuse. But anyways, narcissists create the perfect optics. This is number two. Okay, the narcissist stays calm. Okay, speaks softly, uses logic, plays victim, whispers carefully chosen half truths, and looks stable. You know what's really funny about that whispers carefully chosen half truths? I have said that I have witnessed you lie to me. And that's literally how you do it. You do not speak. And then when I tell you to speak up, you're like, this is just how I speak. No, no, it's not. Because when I ask you about Naruto, you speak quite clearly. But when you're lying to me, you lower your voice. I can barely hear what the fuck you're saying, and I just give up. And that's the whole point. That way you don't have to like tell a whole lie. That's weird. I don't think that she actually meant it literally, but um, quite literally, that is what it was like for you. And they look stable. Okay. The survivor looks emotional, looks overwhelmed, looks angry, looks inconsistent, and looks reactive. um, to outsiders, it looks like, look how calm they are and look how reactive you are. Okay. But here's the truth: calmness is an evidence of innocence, and reactivity is an evidence of abuse. And this is specifically to that lady that I had brought up a couple times, because you specifically um, were mimicking and making fun of my dysregulation when this first started. Okay. When this first went down, I was very amped up. I only have just come back into being able to like form a thought and kind of stay present. I started to get like really dysregulated when I get on here, very manic. And you were mimicking that and saying that I was being, what was the word? Because I know the word, I've used the word. Um, it'll come to me, and when it does, I'll bring it up. Um, it's Reactivity isn't evidence of abuse, it's evidence of impact. Okay. The abuser creates the wound, then points at your pain and says, see, look how crazy they are. Histrionics. That was the word. This is histrionics. This is your histrionic display. You have been siding with this man because he's been calm, you know? 3, they push you to a breaking point, then use it as proof. Narcissists are experts at emotional manufacturing. Okay. They'll poke your insecurities, twist your words, deny obvious reality, sabotage your peace, rewrite conversations, mock your feelings, withhold affection, and accuse you of things they're doing. Um, Now, I don't think she has ever personally accused me of doing anything that he's doing. I would say telling me that you're gonna stop talking to me because I talked to somebody else for a day, when chances are you have been talking to someone else and you haven't given me the option of making that choice. Um, you know, and when you finally react, they say, "See, this is why I act the way I do. You're unstable. You're the problem. You need help." Um, I've also been thinking about my coworkers because I've mentioned Cindy and Catrice, okay? There was an incident. So when when I did that video, I didn't really go into depth of what they were doing, right? But see, this is why I act the way I do. Cindy had a habit of telling me what to do. I do it. Then she come back and tell me I did it wrong the next time I do it. And then tell me, well, and I'll be like, but you told me to do it this way. Well, no, you're supposed to do it the opposite way. Okay, I did it the opposite way before, and you told me that wasn't right. So she waited until 2 days before Valentine's Day. I had been practicing dipping fruit, and I was doing great. But there was one thing she told me I was doing wrong, and it was how I was writing it on the board. When I'm writing it when it's on the board, I need to do a half circle, not a whole circle or some bullshit like that. I'm like, why are you telling me this 2 days before the thing? See, I knew you were gonna get mad. That's why I didn't tell you before. What the fuck, bitch? I'm not really mad about it. It's just it just reminded me this shit right here. And so then I look uncooperative. I look like I can't be trained. I look crazy, you know? So just giving you more examples, I guess. I'm not still mad about that. That was almost now a decade ago. Ah. All right, psychology. This is called reactive abuse when a victim's defensive outbursts. Um, uh-oh. Whoops. I accidentally, okay. Sorry, this phone is broke. That's why I don't use it. I just use it for like when I need to read. Um, when a victim's defensive outburst is weaponized as the aggressor's alibi. And so I do have a video on reactive abuse. I think it's 2 videos. But even with the clear evidence that what was going on was reactive abuse, you denied that that's what it was, you know. 3, they push you. No, no, no. I just did that. Oh no, I didn't. I did, but I wasn't done. Okay. They provoke the storm, then shame you for the thunder. You know what's ironic about that? What's ironic about that is that there was a reader that said you something about that, almost those exact words. Can't be mad when it starts raining. Cause a storm and be mad when it starts raining. Um, Trauma symptoms, number 4, trauma symptoms are not personality traits. Okay? All right? Okay? Trauma symptoms are not personality traits. This one right here, though, let me tell you something. This one right here makes me like super fucking understanding. It makes me so mad because I understand that trauma symptoms are not personality traits. Okay? A lot of you, okay, the lot of you, the lot of you have displayed trauma symptoms. And I try to separate that from what I know of your personality all the time. I try to give you grace, but I don't get that same grace, you know? Survivors don't become narcissistic. They become hypervigilant, anxious, exhausted, dysregulated, overwhelmed, distrustful, and defensive. Okay. Now, here's the funny thing about when we sit and we talk about narcissists and shit, because they're all of that shit. They're all of that shit. Their dysregulation is hidden in being destructive. We went over that graph before. Okay. Their dysregulation is hidden with being destructive. They're also dysregulated. They are also anxious. They are also exhausted. You know, Natanya's dad literally had insomnia. Um, they're also distrustful, and their distrust causes anxiety, which causes them to be dysregulated, which causes them to become destructive. So I can say the same for narcissists. It is a personality disorder because they become destructive. But These trauma states, these are trauma states, not character flaws. Okay. They are the nervous system's signals. SOS signals. Remember when I was talking about, um, it's like an alarm. When you start getting into your flight, freeze, fawn, those are caused by the nervous system's um, alarm system. Oh, danger, danger, danger. I sense danger. And sometimes because the other person is calm and speaks softly and uses logic, because they're like that, you can't determine or put your finger on exactly what the danger is, you know? I'm bringing up Aaron's dad again. There was a day, I can't remember what the disagreement was about, okay? But I think about this all the time, and I might have even brought it up before. There was a disagreement, and I decided to leave the house. And I left the house, I smoked a cigarette, I came back, and I took a shower. And when I was in that shower, I had a strong sense of discernment. I felt like I needed to end this relationship right the fuck now, right? I need to end this right the fuck now. Now. Something's wrong. I don't know what, but something's wrong. So I come out of the shower and I tell him, I'm about to end this relationship. We cannot do this. I don't think that you're the one for me. And he spoke so softly and so calm, and he gave me a Bible verse, and he said, I don't know who was talking to you in that bathroom. Must have been the devil. I don't remember what the argument was about, but I can remember him saying that, right? And I stayed because he was calm. He was speaking softly. He wasn't yelling at me or anything. He must be good, you know? Um, so the trauma science is CPTSD, mimics behaviors often mistaken for toxicity, like emotional flooding, difficulty communicating calmly, shutdowns, heightened reactions, fear responses. These aren't abusive tendencies, they are a trauma fingerprint, okay? Playing mind games, all that gray in our conversation history, you playing mind games when you saying things. He is literally expressing emotional flooding. She is trying her best to speak to you and tell you something, but unfortunately she is having an overwhelming physiological response where the body's stress response is triggered, making it difficult to think clearly or control emotions. She wasn't playing no games with you. Whoever that chick is, you better go tell her sorry, Aubrey Graham. Because the thing about it is, all your music too, like I don't hate you. I can't. I listen to you way too much to hate you. Um, but I see where now, you know, a billion streams on a song can lead people to think that emotional flooding is playing mind games when you saying things. We both doing the same thing. No, you're playing mind games and she's responding by emotionally flooding you, because now she's experienced the flight or freeze response and is struggling to control her emotions. Only you were playing mind games. That lady was not playing mind games with you. Okay. I didn't think that this was going to be a lecture to Aubrey Graham, but sometimes I think about you. You know that. Number 5, outsiders almost always get it backwards because they see the narcissist acting calm, collected, and articulate. Mm-mm-mm. He's been going through this for nearly a decade and he will be free. You hang on, collective. And you, emotionally dysregulated, uncertain, and hurt. But they didn't see the gaslighting, the mind games, the blame shifting, the subtle cruelty, the withdrawal, the confusion, the psychological warfare, and the years of pressure. They only see the final shape of your nervous system after surviving someone else's chaos. So, sociology, people mistake composure for credibility, but composure is often just control in a costume. Trauma doesn't present pretty. Manipulation usually does. Okay? Um she has a little you for the survivors, okay? You were not the abuser. You were the one being slowly pushed to the point. Your biology wasn't built to endure. You weren't irrational. You were overwhelmed. You weren't dramatic. You were drowning. You weren't unstable. You were unsupported. Your reactions weren't signs of who you are, they were signs of what you were surviving. And the fact that you're healing now, that's proof of your character. Narcissists don't heal, they just hide and find a new victim. She didn't put that part, but they find a new victim. You know what I'm saying? You face the truth and you rose. Okay. Survivors don't look like abusers because they are abusers. They look reactive because they were forced into emotional positions the abuser never had to endure. Okay. Narcissists create the wound and survivors carry the scar. But scars aren't signs of guilt, they're signs of survival. And your activity was never the problem, their manipulation was. And now that you're healing, you're becoming the one thing they feared most: regulated, clear, untouchable, and finally fully you. All right. Um, Very common thing in covert narcissism. When you're a covert narcissist, a vulnerable narcissist is what the other word for that or term for that. Okay, so I brought all that up because at no point in time was I ever playing any mind games with you, and I'm gonna confirm that for the last time because I heard that one. Oh, I heard that one a while ago. This individual just has whatever opinions they have. You need to no longer listen to that individual, and you know which individual I'm talking about. Okay, so listen to other people less, and this day probably go a lot better. Next thing. Okay, now I can turn my light towards me so you can see me again. The next thing is I think um oh same reader mentioning that I make up things, s- pretending that people are telling me things, um or something to that extent, right? I'm not pretending. It's just that because of how you guys are doing things, they had to find a creative way to reach me. um I've said before, and I guess you just don't believe me, which is fine. But there were a few readers that were investigators. Okay, they disappeared off the face of the earth once they got the information that they wanted to get. Okay, during this time, they did feed me information. How they got that information, it could be from surveillance, it could be from being a mole, it could be a variety of things. But they helped me like a total of 3 or 4 times, okay, with something. And they are real life investigators, okay? Because, the FBI does employ psychics. The police department does employ psychics. They employ people like that. And that's what they did. They employed a group. And actually, I'm sorry, there are actually probably like three still floating around, but we're not going to say their names or anything for obvious reasons. You don't have to believe me, you know, you don't have to believe me. But watching me, they realize that I really am a psychic. um, and so, anyways, one of them wasn't a psychic though. She was just an investigator pretending to be a psychic. She's really good at her job. Um, but the other one that I'm thinking of, definitely a psychic. Okay, definitely a psychic, definitely an investigator. Um, so without there's no way to really say this without saying what the truth is. Okay, but you see, and now when I say you'll know who you are. You told me randomly. Okay, I was showing you that document. There's a video where there's a document that I found by typing in, I typed in a license plate number and it came up with field numbers, and it came up with plantations, okay, and names. And the thing is, I had told my ancestors when I was doing my work that I would find your names. I will learn your names. I had to do something to show my reverence, because I'm living in shelters and shit. I can't really offer offerings, so I can do other things in order to lift you up, right? So I found that, and it had all these names, and your last name was on there. So I showed it to you, and you're like, I changed. My family we changed our name. Our family changed our name, and at some point, because somebody in my family did something really bad, and so we had to change our name. Mm. And at the time, I did not tell you that I already knew that information. I just didn't know it was you. Okay. These readers, and I'll put it like this because, like I said, one of them was pretending to be a reader, but she was not. She was just an investigator. And what she was doing is she was using her readings in order to get information from me. And I would respond to her videos. Some of my videos are responses to her questions. But so essentially, some of my videos, they're still divinely guided, but it just so happened that she would ask the question and be like, oh yeah, by the way, I didn't tell you guys about the drugs. You know, that's actually what was happening here on this channel. For some of it, not all of it, but for some of it. Because these people were divinely guided into my life as a result of all y'all's bullshit. Okay? So I like a year before, not even a year before, but maybe about 6 months, okay, one had told me that I needed to be careful of this individual because their family had some issues, did some real bad shit, and they changed the family name. Then the other, and I know they're working together because they would shout each other out sometimes. And the purpose of them shouting each other out was to let me know that they had a message. So go over to that person, they got a message. Every time I would, you catch on to these things pretty quick. Okay. So I caught on a long time ago. So the other one mentions where you work, mentions that you've done something to prove that I'm a bad parent, mentions that you've been in my house recently, you've done X, Y, and Z, right? We're not going to tell what X, Y, and Z is. You know what X, Y, and Z is, and you continue to try to fucking lie. Okay. So maybe 6 months from this, So now we're talking a year from the time I heard the reading and 6 months from the time that you told me about the name change. Okay. I tell you when we're getting into like a little bit of a disagreement, hey, if you know of anybody that's doing something wrong in your family or anybody, you need to go to the police and you need to tell them right away because an investigator told me that um, your name was changed. Oh, well, and he had told me that it happened like way in the past. And I said, here's the thing that I'm trying to explain to you. They would have no reason to go that far back into your history. They would have no reason to do that. And you didn't believe me because you didn't hear me on a phone. You didn't see me texting. So you think that nobody said anything to me and I just fucking made it up. Nobody said anything to me. I just made it up. Hmm? I'm only telling you this now because whatever's done is done. That was several years ago. Okay? Do you understand that to catch big time motherfucking criminals, they'll watch your ass for 10 years? What's done is already done. Okay? So I don't have a problem with speaking on it now. But you made it seem like I just made up a narrative or I just made up that somebody told me something. No, somebody told me something. Someone told me lots of things. Okay. Yes, you actually do have a mole. And yes, somebody actually was feeding me information for a little bit. Just a little bit, though. Not enough to really change my life. But for instance, you guys wanted to get me beat up hanging out with white girl Amy. Suddenly I started calling her white girl Amy. It's if you seek Amy. I don't know why I have to make that distinction. Probably the fact that she's a covert racist, but you know, we'll leave it. We'll leave it for another day. You guys want to beat me up, right? You want to get me jumped or something in front of my child, nonetheless. And you were all so confused on how did she know? How did you know? How did you escape? Narrowly escape. Sorry, I'm about to come to tears because I am a psychic, okay? I am. And there's a lot of things that I know that has nothing to do with the tarot or anything like that. I know there's a lot that I know that I shouldn't know that nobody's brought up, or maybe you brought it up and I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, that did happen. Let me tell you about it," right? I got a lot of those. But there were some defining moments that were fed to me, okay? So, you're either under surveillance or you have a mole. But for the most part, I'm just psychic because one, I would have to like really fine tune the intuition to even pick up on that, to pick up on them. You know what I mean? Um like really fine tune. I could have almost missed it. That's how subtle it was, you know? But to answer your question, because you guys are so freaked out, um, yeah, yeah, somebody has given me some information, and the rest is just, where the facts lack, my intuition, you know, something about that. I can't remember. It was really catchy, but now it's not. So I'll go to bed now. But I hope you think of that. Oh, I actually had another Drake lyric, but you know what? We're coming up on 45 minutes. We're just gonna leave it at that, and maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. Good night.